Here's a little video about a big thing called the ego. Most people, right off the bat, I'll just say it, they have no idea what an ego means. And it's their very ego that keeps them from learning about what an ego really means. And it's also the thing that keeps a broke person broke year after year who wishes they could come out of it. Ego is what keeps a shy person shy. It's what keeps a self-loather self-loathing. It's what keeps a person who keeps stretching themselves way too thin year after year continuing down that same path. An ego is the thing that encapsulates all these things that destroys a person's life. That's what an ego is. Now here's the definition of an ego. Ego is I. An ego problem is when you make something all about yourself. Self is ego. Now everybody has one. Me, you cannot exist without an ego. So an ego does serve its purpose, even albeit a positive one if you can believe that. But the problem with a lot of people is their ego gets too big, it gets out of control, and there's no balance, and everything is about balance, right? So the ego is way out of whack, it's way too big, and there's not enough selflessness. It's all about self, or too much self and not enough selflessness. So here's the big problem with that. When ego gets in the way, like I said, that's the thing that keeps you from growing personally. It keeps you from developing yourself. It keeps you from always having to be right. And it's not about me being right, you being wrong, or you being right, me being wrong. We're all walking on the same equal ground here. Only an ego is going to be concerned about being right and making somebody else be wrong. Only an ego cares about being recognized. Somebody who does not have an ego problem could care less who gets the recognition for even something that they did. It doesn't bother them because they have a very small ego. People that are motivated by recognition can be manipulated to do anything, and that manipulation to do anything is driven by an ego. That is ego. Somebody who's motivated by just making money can be manipulated to do anything, and anybody that can be manipulated to do anything, that is ego that drives that. And then the person doing the manipulating, well, obviously that's ego too, because they've made it all about themselves. So ego is I itself. The opposite of that is humility, humbleness. And just like on the opposite side of that, if you are 100% humility, 100% humbleness, 100% selflessness, then there's no balance there either. But there is one side that you want to win, and that would be the side of humility, humbleness, selflessness. You don't want the side of I and self and that to win, and pride. He who is prideful will be torn down. We're seeing that all over the place. Unemployment, sky high. People living paycheck to paycheck, below the poverty line, sky high. All of that is pridefulness. It's ego. It's I. Even though it doesn't seem like it, it is. Because ego kept you from learning skills that you need to be able to get what you want. Only ego gets in the way of that. And most people do not want to subscribe to that or believe in that. Most people will fight tooth and nail, driven by an ego. Only an ego will drive somebody to fight tooth and nail to protect a belief that has suffered them for so many years. Only an ego will be above learning a new skill because they feel they're above learning a new skill. Only a person who is above those things has an ego problem. Somebody who can't even afford to take care of their family, so they require government help either through food stamps, the welfare system, subsidies, who knows what. Can't even afford to take care of their kids or buy their kids some milk and whatever else. But they don't want to learn a new skill because they're above that. That's ego, friends. That's ego. So here's the deal. Here's the battle that's going on. It is a battle. It's a battle between ego and humbleness, ego and humility, self and selflessness, I and being able to help other people. This is a battle. It's a battle of opposing opposites in contrast. And these battles are happening everywhere, inside of your body, physiologically, inside of your brain, in the world at large. But for this particular video, the battle we're talking about is the battle between ego and humility, ego and selflessness, ego and humbleness. And here's how you win that battle, friends. First, get off the God-blessed sidelines. If you're on the sidelines, then you're living by default. You're designing nothing. You're living by default. And when you live by default, then ego is going to win. And ego is going to continue to keep you in this place that you're not very happy. It's going to keep you back from growing and becoming all that you desire to be and all that you were meant for. So destroy this thing called ego instead of protecting it and building it every day. That's foolish. So get off the sidelines, on to the playing field. Cooperate. Learn how to cooperate. If you don't know how yet, it doesn't mean you don't get started. It just means you go on this discovery process and you learn how to cooperate with the side that you want to win. The side that wins is the one that you feed more. So get off the sidelines, onto the playing field. Learn to cooperate more with things inside of your mind like humility and humbleness instead of ego. And eventually you will drive ego into its teeny tiny little corner where it cannot keep you from growing yourself and developing yourself and getting more of what you want and things that you were meant for. Got to do that. Otherwise, you're going to live a life much more difficult, much more painful than it has to be. You just have to get out of your way. Get onto the playing field. Learn how to cooperate with humility. Drive ego into its small little corner and then keep it there. And never get back into that sideline position ever again. Always be in the playing field. The moment you get off the playing field, the moment that you get so far advanced in your life that you get comfortable and you get pompous and pig-headed enough to think that everything is okay now, you can just get back on the sidelines, that's when ego creeps back in and takes over and brings you back down. So don't do that. That's foolish. A lot of people have done that, and it's just completely foolish. So stay on the playing field and drive ego into its teeny tiny little corner. And here's one that's really difficult for people to understand, especially people that are motivated by helping other people. My fellow nurturers out there, I'm more motivated by helping others and actually watching them grow than I am anything else. This is something we have to keep in check, and it sounds a little backwards. But some of our most ego-driven people out there are people that stretch themselves so thin to help out other people that we are no longer at our best because we've stretched ourselves out so thin. And then we recognize that we are not at our best anymore, and we still keep making those decisions to keep stretching ourselves so thin to help other people. At that point, we have made it more about us than we have made it about helping these people. And that is ego. The shy person has made it all about him or herself. That is ego. I'm inherently very shy. I have to keep that in check. I've got to consciously be on the playing field and keep that ego contained in its small little corner. The self-loathers out there, the people that beat themselves up all the time, they've made it all about themselves, and that is ego. And that's something we got to watch out for. Now, most people will agree with this one here. The person that is arrogant, they've made it all about themselves. That is ego. Ego is not synonymous with arrogance. Most people believe that they're one and the same, and they're not. But most people have no idea what ego is, and I'm telling you in this video that this is what ego is. Anytime you make it all about yourself, it's I, that is ego. So some of our most egocentric people in the world are our shy people, our nurturers, and our self-loathers, along with people that are just outright arrogant. All of that is all ego. So I know it's redundant, but this is how I personally learn. Repetition is the mother of learning. Cooperate with the humbleness and the humility inside your mind and drive ego into its small little corner. Don't be motivated by just money, and don't be motivated by recognition. Who cares who gets the credit? If you're not motivated by money and recognition and those things and ego-driven things, then you will be unusually successful. You'll actually have more abundance of the things that people who are egocentric care about. And it's kind of backwards how that works, but I've seen it happen exactly that way in many lives, including my own. Ego is something to be destroyed, friends. Just suffer the humility to destroy your ego. That's a good one right there. Suffer the humility to destroy your ego. And in the name of destroying that thing, that is ego. Ego is like this monkey suit that you build for yourself, where nobody can even recognize you anymore because you're so driven by I. Even the self-loathers, the shy people. I mean, think about the shy person. That shy person puts on this monkey suit because they're shy, builds a monkey suit for themselves, and whoever it is that they're shy about or shy around can't even recognize them. It's like they're a different person when they're around whomever because they're so shy. And that's the monkey suit that we see, and we don't like it. It's not an attractive monkey suit. You're so much more attractive if you're just your authentic self. And you can be your authentic self, whoever you are. If you're the arrogant person or the shy person or the self-loather, you can be yourself that other people will come to know and love for you, your authentic, attractive self. If you destroy this thing called ego, you take this nasty, God blessed monkey suit off of yourself that you built for yourself and just throw it away and destroy this thing called ego every day, and never get so far advanced in your life that you just feel so pompous and pig-headed enough that you can just get back onto the sidelines. Because that's when you become prideful again and ego-driven again. And he who is prideful will be torn right back down again. And I guess once in a while we need that to keep things in check, right? So even that has a silver lining. All right. I've repeated myself on the same topic lines, I think, enough now. I hope you guys get that. If you have any questions, you want to talk about this, just hit me up, private message me. And if I can help you destroy this thing called ego and build up your humility and selflessness and have some really good balance there, let me know. I'd like to help. If enough people destroy their ego, we can solve a lot of problems, both with ourselves and in the world at large in which we live, because there's way too much ego going on out there, and quite honestly, a lot more people need to even learn what ego is before they can even address it and kill that thing called ego. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the day. Enjoy life.